Greetings to all ladies and gentlemen. The first group of Grade 12 STEM 11 proudly present to you the first performance task in General Biology 1. But first, let me introduce myself. I am RJ Tabasa, your host for today. Right now, we are facing this pandemic, but this thing wouldn't stop us for being productive and creative. This day, you will be listening to the discussions and presentations of our guests. I heard the guests are from different sections, and they have unique skills, talents, and personalities. But now, they are united as one and will serve you a good shot for today. For our first topic, which is the introduction to biology, will be led by our gents, Mr. Marvin J. Pamitan and Mr. Aaron Diaz. So sit back and relax.
Have you ever wondered what is life? What is living?
Or even how life works?
Well, let us all answer those questions through this presentation. Everyone, may I present to you Ila Bio of Grade 12-11 Stm. So, what is biology? Biology in Greek term bios means life and logos means study. When we combine those two words, we get the study of life.
It was introduced in Germany in 1800s, popularized by French naturalist Jean-Baptiste Lamarck.
Biology science means the study of all living things. Each living thing is an organism.
An organism could be a microorganism, plant, animal, protist, or fungus.
Of course, a human being is an organism that belongs to the animal kingdom.
All organisms carry out biological process to maintain life.
Well, there are basic characteristics of living things.
And what are those?
Well, let's get to it.
First is definite organization. Cell is the basic structure of all living things. These cells are organized to form tissues, tissues into organs, organs into organ systems, and organ systems into an organism.
Second one is metabolism. It is the sum of all chemical reactions that take place inside the living things or cell. Organisms get food, water, and gases from the environment, which are transformed inside the body into energy that is needed in performing life processes.
Third is growth and development. All organisms manifest development by growing in size and shape. Plants and animals grow by development from within, hence called intussusceptions.
Fourth, reproduction. The ability to replicate themselves is exhibited by all kinds of organisms.
Fifth is responsiveness. This attribute is termed as irritability. Stimuli may come from light, heat, gravity, water, touch, or sound. Organisms can respond positively or negatively to such stimuli.
Sixth, movement. All organisms are capable of movement, thus transferring from one place to another. Plants can move, and they show little movement known as tropism.
And lastly, genetic control. All organisms have units of information packaged in their cells. The genetic material is transmitted from generation to generation, preserving the traits of the species.
Wow, what a great intro. So, for our second topic, which is the cell theory, will be discussed by our gents, Mr. Andrew Barrett and Mr. John Lexus Pagha.
Many scientists try to find details about the cell, and other respect their theories like these peoples. The first scientist who discovered the cell is Robert Hooke in 1665. Yeah, sinabi niya na kakaiba ito sa selula o bahay ng mga monkey. Gayon pa man ang talagang nakita ni Hooke ay isang dead cell walls ng plant cell o tinatawag na corpse. Sumunod sa kanya ay si Anton van Leeuwenhoek na nakatuklas ng pagkakaroon ng mga single cell na organismo. Nakita niya sa pond ang dose-dosenang protists gamit ng kanyang microscope at tinawag niyang animalcules, pati na rin ang mga green algae.
Marius Jacob Schilden was a German botanist. who, along with Theodore Swan, who was a zoologist in the same area, founded cell theory. In 1838, Skildon identified the cell as the basic unit of plant structure, and a year later, Swan referred to the cell as the primary unit of animal structure. They have the same conclusion but in a different specimen. Rudolf Virchow, known as the father of modern pathology. In 1855, Virchow published a statement based on his observation omnis cellula is cellula, which means that all cells arise from pre-existing cells.
Brain Blast! Alam niyo ba, itinago ni Van Leeuwenhoek ang kanyang gawa? Dahil sa takot na baka mas mapabuti pa ito ng mga sikat na siyentipiko at siya ay makalimutan.
Ang karera ni Hooke ay napinsala dahil sa pag-aargumento sa iba pang kilalang scientifico gaya ni Isaac Newton na kapwa niyang English noong 1682.
Oh, there are many theories for the cells, right? But next, without this thing, we are not able to see what cell is. So, for our third topic, which is the microscope, will be led by our gents Mr. M.J. Kisagan and Mr. Ken Salmorin.
A great day. If we didn't ask, before the invention of microscope, people believed that the illness were the result of poisonous gases or evil spirit. But when the microscope was created, people could see viruses and bacteria, and these beliefs began to change. About the year 1590s, Zacharias Janssen and his father invented a compound microscope, which is a microscope that uses two or more lenses. There are three main parts of microscope. First, the mechanical parts refer to the parts that serve as the framework of the microscope. Second, the illuminating or optical parts. It produces light entering the microscope. And the last one is the magnifying parts, enlarge or magnify the object. We also have here three types of microscope. First, a compound light microscope. It is used to view small sample that cannot be seen or identified with the naked eye. Second, a stereo microscope. It is an optical microscope that provides a three-dimensional view of a specimen. The last one is an electron microscope. It is used in biomedical research to investigate the detailed structure of tissues, cells, and organelles. And these are some trivia about microscope.
Did you know that Anton van Leeuwenhoek created powerful lenses that could see teeming bacteria in the droplets of water? Robert Hooke discovered cells by studying the honeycomb structure of a cork using a microscope.
What a cute microscopes! Just kidding. So let's move on for our fourth topic, which is the major parts of the cell, will be discussed by our gents Mr. Nori Suma and Mr. Jorhel Ampoy.
Let's talk about cell membrane. The cell membrane is a semi-permeable of a cell that surrounds and encloses its content of cytoplasm and nuclear plasm. Ang function ng cell is to provide protection for the cell. Sa loob ng cell, the membrane has several different functions. One is to transport nutrients into the cell and also to transport toxic substances out of the cell. And for the cytoplasm provides a venue for the organelles to remain suspended. Ibig sabihin, lumulutang sila without moving in any direction. Yung cytoplasm nag-a-act siya as a buffer at pinaprotekta niya yung kinetic material ng cell, pati na rin yung cellular organelles para pa nagbanggaan yung dalawang cell, hindi masira yung loob. Sabihin na lang natin yung cell membrane para siyang screen door. Dahil yung screen door, hindi niya pwedeng papasokin yung mga bagay sa loob. Pero nakapasok yung mga hangin sa loob. Kasi nga, siya ngayon nag-control what goes in and out of the cell. And for the cytoplasm, para siyang swimming pool. Dahil yung swimming pool, marami siyang tubig sa loob. Ganon din yung cell, marami siyang tubig sa loob. And that's we call cytoplasm.
Hello, nice to meet you. I'm Nucleus. You can call me the control center of the cell. Let me tell you about myself. I'm the spherical structure near the center of the cell. I have 5 parts. The first one is the karyoplasm and the nucleoplasm, which is my protoplasmic content. And then the second part is the nuclear membrane. It is a double-layered membrane that encloses me na all niyayakap. Then I have nuclear pores. These are perforated holes in the nuclear membrane that permits the movement of selected molecules between me and the rest of the cell, while blocking the other passage of other molecules. Then the fourth one is the nucleoli, which is my synthesis of RNA and protein. And lastly, the chromosomes. This is thread-like structure that carries the genes. And that's me. Bye!
So adorable. Yes. Thank you to our Mr. Two Cells. So let's move on for our 5th topic, which is the cell organelles, will be led by our gents Mr. Stephen Subihano and Mr. John Oriel.
Yes, today we will talk about cell organelles. One of the parts of the cell organelles is endoplasmic reticulum. Its function is to carry substances to their destination. There are 2 types of endoplasmic reticulum. One is smooth endoplasmic reticulum and is responsible for synthesizing fatty acids and phospholipids. The other one is rough endoplasmic reticulum, responsible for synthesizing and modifying proteins. The other part of the cell is mitochondria. It is also known as the powerhouse of the cell and responsible to produce ATP or energy of the cell. Then, ribosomes. It is a site of protein synthesis and lysosome, known as a suicide bug. It is the digestion and waste removal for cell, food, particles, bacteria, etc. Next is Golgi apparatus. It is the manufacturer, the shipping center of the cell. And vacuole, found in both plant and animals. It serves as a storage of chemicals within the cell. Chloroplast. It serves as a site of energy conversion in plants, and this is only be found in the cell of the plant. Centriole. Main function is to produce cilia during interphase, and the aster and the spindle during cell division. And this is only be found in the cell of the animal.
Hello classmates, nandito ako para magbigay sa inyo ng konting trivias about sa cell organelles. Alam niyo ba sa eukaryotic cells, 50% ng surface na ay naglalaman ng endoplasmic reticulum? Alam niyo ba na kapag kailangan ng cells ng energy, lumalaki ang mitochondria at nahahat-hati siya para mag-reproduce? Alam niyo ba na mukhang burger ang ribosomes dahil meron siyang 2 subunits, isang malaki sa taas at maliit naman sa baba? Alam niyo ba na hindi tayo makapag-digest kung walang lysosomes? Alam niyo ba na kulay pink ang Golgi apparatus? Alam niyo ba na parang water balloon ang vacuole? Alam niyo ba na pwede mag-produce ng harmful reactive oxygen species ang chloroplasts kapag sobrang init? At alam niyo ba mukhang cylinder ang centriole? Ayun lang classmates, salamat.
These organelles have eyes also. I will freak out if this is true. Char. So, thank you to our dear organelles. So, let's proceed for our 6th topic, which is the animal and plant cells. And it will be discussed by our gents, Mr. Oliver Guan and Mr. Russell Caliza.
Plant cells and animal cells. Ano nga ba ang mga pagkakatulad at pagkaiba nito? Simulan natin sa kanilang pagkakaparehas. Ang plant cells at animal cells ay parehong eukaryotic cells. They both contain membrane-bound organelles gaya ng nucleus, mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi apparatus, at lysosomes. They both also contain similar membranes, cytosol and cytoskeletal elements. Ngayon, dumako naman tayo sa kanilang pagkakaiba. Ang plant cells is bigger than animal cells. Plant cells can be measured about 10 to 100 micrometer, while the animal cell measures 10 to 30 micrometers. Pagdating naman sa shapes, ang plant cells is more like cube shape because of the cell wall. At may mga parts din ng plant cells ang wala sa animal cells. Ito ay ang cell wall, chloroplast, at vacuole.
Trivia about the plant cells. Did you know the first thing that is wonderful about the plant cells is that they are the only producers of food by self on Earth? Trivia about the animal cell. Did you know cells are small? Animal cells, like any cell, are not visible to the naked eye. They are anywhere from 1 to 100 micrometers, so you will need a microscope to see them.
Thank you, Mr. Guan and Mr. Kinisa. So you know the difference between the animal and plant cell. So interesting, right? So for our last but not the least topic, which is the prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, will be led by our beautiful lads, Miss Eliza S. Piloy and Miss Monica Peralta.
Hi, this is Monica. Today we're here with prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. To distinguish each of them, prokaryotic cells are cells that lack organelles and other internal membrane-bound structures, while eukaryotic cells are cells that contain a nucleus and organelles and are enclosed by a plasma membrane. There are differences between the two, starting with size. Prokaryotic cells are 0.1 to 5 micrometers big, which can be only seen using a microscope, while eukaryotic cells are 5 to 100 micrometers bigger, which can only still be seen using a microscope. Prokaryotic cells don't have a nucleus, while eukaryotic cells have them. Eukaryotic cells have organelles such as lysosomes, mitochondria, vacuoles, etc. that are not present in prokaryotic cells. Organisms with prokaryotic cells are unicellular, while organisms with eukaryotic cells are multicellular. Bacteria cells and archaea cells are examples of prokaryotic cells. Plant cells and animal cells are examples of eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cells also have similarities, like both have chromosomes. Prokaryotic cells only have one, while eukaryotic cells have more than one. Both have ribosomes, only that prokaryotic cells have smaller ribosomes than eukaryotic cells. Now that we know the basics of prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells, let us know some trivia about them.
It's trivia time! Hi everyone, my name is Yuka, prokaryotic cell. Today I will give you some facts or trivia about eukaryotic and prokaryotic cell. First, did you know that prokaryotic cells have cell walls like plants do? They are used for protection since prokaryotes are usually single-celled organisms. Second, since DNA is not found in the nucleus, since prokaryotic cells don't have one, it is instead concentrated in one area called the nuclear region. Third, fungi contains eukaryotic cells. They may seem to have prokaryotic cells, but fungi cells contain membrane-bound nucleus where the DNA is wrapped around histone proteins. And lastly, eukaryotes often have flagella or tail-like structures that are made of microtubules. That's all. Thank you for listening. I hope you learned something today. Bye! Until the next time!
So you are mesmerized by their beauties and how they delivered the topic. So, eto na. Eto na talaga. Nagtagalog na ako. Charot. So, thank you to our beautiful lads and gents and to our audiences also. Because without your help, this would not have been possible. So, before we end this presentation, we hope that you learned something and you enjoy our presentation. And before we leave, I will give you a motivational quote by Babe Ruth. Never let the fear of striking out stop you from playing the game. Saan na gets mo? Char. So, thank you and may our God bless and keep you.